Hello and welcome to our Clay Center Area Chamber of Commerce Eagle Television broadcast. I'm Renee Langvardt. I'm the Clay Center Area Chamber Director. We are so thankful that Eagle Television has allowed us this time, once a month, to share with the community some of the events and programs we have coming up in Clay Center. The summer is winding down, school is back in session, the college kids are heading back to campuses, and football is starting. With all of that, it also means that exciting preparations are underway in Clay Center. Our annual Piotique celebration is just around the corner, Saturday, September 27th. Piotique is always held on the last Saturday of September, and I get lots of questions about that. Today I have a couple guests with me to talk about Piotique, and Steve McMahan with Central Office Service and Supply is here with us today, and thank you so much, Steve, for coming and doing this with me, for being part of the program. And I'm anxious to talk with you and get your thoughts and perspectives on Piotique. And I was hoping that, first of all, you would just tell everybody that's watching a little bit about who you are and yourself and your family and how long you've lived here in Clay Center and how long you've been in business, and perhaps some of the products and services that you offer at Central Office Service and Supply.
Thanks, Renee. Well, it is an honor to be asked, and Clay Center is my hometown. I was born here in the museum, and I have lived here all but my college years and the first 2 years of our married life. I taught school in Chapman, had Larry Avery's sister in school back when I was teaching, and then I've been in Clay Center in business for 40 years this year. Our business is Central Office Service and Supply. It was a business founded by my father in 1947, and so we've been in business for 67 years. Of course, we've changed dramatically over the years. We've moved from exclusively an accounting business to where we no longer do accounting. We have all kinds of gifts, office supplies, machines, and furniture. So we've worked hard to try to keep up with the times on this. With regard to Piotique, which I know you want me to know a little bit, or just tell you a little bit about my memories with Piotique. Mm-hmm. It's always been one of my favorite activities in Clay Center. It's the one time a year when we have a big parade. Mm-hmm. Used to be that back when I was just a child, there was a big homecoming parade at that time as well. But Piotique's more for the kids with candy and other goodies that happen. But the Piotique celebration predates me by a bit. It came from the words pioneer and antique. That name was chosen from a contest, and a Mrs. Ed Cody, whom I never knew, is the one who was the winner of that contest, and so that's where Piotique came from.
Okay, all right. That's a question that I know when I moved to Clay Center, because I'm not a Clay Center native, but when I moved here and people were talking about Piotique, I honestly, where in the world does that word come from? Right. So I know as a chamber director, I meet a lot of new people, and there is a lot of curiosity about Piotique and exactly what it is, and we have some board members that aren't from Clay Center as well, and this is their first year serving, and we've had to explain to them what Piotique is, the actual word. So it's always an interesting thing to know that it's a combination of the word pioneer and antique, and I wasn't aware that it was from a contest, so I think that's pretty interesting. Sure. It's something that's stuck for all these years, so that's pretty interesting. And so can you tell me some of the events that typically happen during the Piotique celebration? Yes,
maybe just a little bit about what used to be more of the focus of Piotique and how that's changed. A number of years ago, there would be old oil engines, even steam engines set up, and there would be old antique farm equipment that would be a part of the parade. Well, that's hard on streets, so they no longer put that in the parade. But the thing that's happened that's kind of taken the place of that is the Historical Society's Pioneer Festival. So there's still those kinds of opportunities in Clay Center. But the one big difference, stores used to put displays in their window of antiques, and they would have they would go along with the theme of Piotique. And so there was a contest to see which store had the most effective display of those kinds of things. And I tried to revive that some years ago when I was chair of the chamber, but it's hard to get that going again. So I kind of missed that. But today the activities for Piotique certainly continue to be the parade, and it's a very nice parade. Our daughter and her husband, who live in Lawrence, and our grandkids always want to be here for Piotique. They put it on their calendar because they love the parade. There is the BPW, or it's not BP, is it BPW?
Yep, it's BPW.
Okay, they sponsor the antique car show in Dexter Park, and that's an excellent occasion as well. Of course, the booths that are on the courthouse square, where a number of vendors come in and sell all kinds of things, as well as good food, is an excellent draw for people both in and outside the community. And then the other thing is it's a very good time for class reunions. And so it's kind of a homecoming for Clay Center.
Yes. I know this year, if anybody participated in the Independence Day celebration that we had on the courthouse square, they were lucky enough to see an amazing face painter and Aunt Nancy's face painting. And she was so excited by our community, and she was overwhelmed by how well the children in Clay Center behaved. And she told me that repeatedly. And she asked me when they could come back, and I said, well, Piotique is a huge thing. If you think there's a lot of kids here now, you just wait till Piotique. And so we're also very excited to add that element to Piotique this year, that we're going to have Aunt Nancy's face art. She will be back here, and the bouncy houses, and I know that the vendors are a huge deal, and you're right, there's tons of food options to choose from, and I think it's important to support those food vendors on Piotique because many of them are churches trying to raise money, or different civic organizations, and they're trying to raise money for their events that they hold throughout the year, and they take advantage of having that many people in one small space to, you know, really raise a lot of money. So it's a very, very good thing. So over the years, so because you're from Clay Center and you've obviously participated in numerous Piotique celebrations, what does it come to mean to you and your family? And then I'm interested to know as well, because you're a businessman and business owner, there has to be some sort of impact on your business as well from Piotique.
The biggest thing that I see, of course, that there are more people in Clay Center that day than any other day of the year that I know of. It's hard to get down close to downtown to get a parking spot. I'll be honest, it doesn't do a lot for us business-wise. We feel like it's just an excellent public relations event for the city of Clay Center, as I mentioned, kind of a homecoming. But most of the people that come for Piotique are not looking for, unless it's a really outstanding sale on a gift type item, they're not coming to buy an office supply or a copier that day or a chair.
Understand.
So it doesn't. But I still am a big supporter of Piotique.
Sure.
I know that for the all of the lodging is booked in advance for that weekend, and it brings a lot of dollars in for the food vendors in Clay County, and there are other businesses that helps more. But it's a worthwhile thing to do.
So, what's your favorite thing about Piotique?
I think probably the parade, and watching the parade with my family and grandchildren, and just seeing their excitement at all the big equipment and the old-fashioned tractors and the horses, of course. So those are all fun things.
I think a parade kind of embodies the American spirit, and because we have such a quaint town, it looks quintessential Norman Rockwell, and have a parade around the square or near the square, and it just feels very American to me. I know my children enjoy it, and they love when they get to ride on floats or be a part of the parade, and it's just as exciting to be a spectator for the parade. So I hear that a lot, that people's favorite aspects is the parade. So as we move forward, and Of course, younger generations will start to take over the Piotique preparations and whatnot. Because there's the word pioneer and antique combined, I do believe that it's important to pay homage to its roots. So as you move forward, or as we look towards the future with Piotique, what are some of your hopes that the younger generations always take into consideration as we make the plans for Piotique?
Well, I do think that choosing the theme and trying to keep both the past and the present and the future in mind, it's always a hard thing, I know, having been on the chamber board for a number of years. But that's important. But I would like to see a little bit more emphasis on the antique aspect or the pioneer aspect.
Sure.
But it maybe could be done, just to have that special emphasis every 2 or 3 years rather than every single year.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of good that's going on. I know it's a tremendous amount of work for the board. A lot of people get up early to get everything done, and then there's a lot of cleaning up afterwards. And so I appreciate the work that you and the rest of the board are doing on this.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate all the efforts that you've done for Clay Center and the community, and for being such a big part of the business community. And so I just really thank you for being here with me today, and it was an honor talking to you today.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
At Eagle Communications,
we bring you the best
in high-speed internet,
digital television,
and reliable telephone service,
so you can enjoy
the latest technology
for your busy life.
We're 100% employee-owned.
When you're talking to one of us,
you are talking to an owner.
You can rest assured
that we're working hard
to bring you the best value for your money.
Because our bottom line
is making sure
we exceed your bottom line.
Eagle Communication.
Our community connected.
My next guest is Angie Taves of KCLY Radio. Welcome, Angie. I'm so glad that you could be here with me today.
Thanks for asking me.
Angie is also one of my board members on the Clay Center Area Chamber of Commerce, and I was hoping, because you're a little bit newer to the community, that you could tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've been around Clay Center, and what your job is at KCLY Radio.
I've been around Clay Center. Dwayne started working there about 12 years ago with KCLY. So I've actually been around Clay Center quite a bit, not in the capacity that I've become in the last year. I was in education over at Riley, and so that was where I was headed. And then this job at KCLY became available, and I'm actually on-air personality from 1 to 6, but one of my bigger responsibilities is the radio mall, which is certificates that sell at a reduced cost, but at local businesses throughout the KCLY area, which is important to me because I grew up in a small town. I actually grew up in Washington, so I didn't move very far away. Clay Center fits all of those requirements as far as wanting to raise my children in that small town setting, having that community backup when things maybe not go quite right, or when they do, and everybody's here to celebrate those things with you too.
Right.
And so it was really important for us to stay in that small town kind of capacity. And so I'm actually work with KCLY and do the radio mall and on air, but then I got the opportunity to become a chamber board member too, which allowed me another door to fit into the community and find those niches, or however you want to say that, because I feel like we are such a big push for how Clay Center is going to continue and what's going to happen. And I feel like if we don't step up, especially the younger generation, and show them that it's possible to come back here and have jobs and continue, then we won't have the community that we have. And Clay Center is amazing. Lots of activities going on all throughout the year, not just Piotique, which I know we're going to talk about, but there is almost an activity monthly that you can find. Lots of churches that are available in the area. The school system here itself is amazing. The electives that they can take up here at this high school, I just was blown away. So it's just been it's been a really great transition. My older two graduated from an adjoining school. My youngest will graduate from Clay Center, and thoroughly proud to be a Tiger.
That's fantastic. Angie's one of my favorite kind of people because she actually called me and said, how do I get involved? I want to do this. And honestly, like, I'm just going to touch on a little bit about what you just said. It's not about just surviving. We don't want Clay Center to just survive. We want it to thrive. And we want our children and our generation now and the generations under us to not only be super proud about Clay Center, but we want those younger generations to move back here and know that they can live healthy, very productive lives and thrive throughout the course of their lifetime. And so, like, that's why we do what we do. We want our community to be fantastic, and you and I always think a lot alike, and it's one of the things that I appreciate the most about her is that, you know, and I know that part of it is because of the KCLY radio mall, but I know that you're a huge advocate for shopping local and shopping small, and we need to embody that thought into as many people as we can possibly do that, and that's one of the things that you and I work so hard together to do. And I know that KCLY is a huge part of that, so we could never say thank you enough for all of that. Because we're both a bit newer to the community, and we've been a part of Piotique. You know, I've been here since 2006, and but we've been more spectator, you know?
Yeah, I've been on the outskirts.
Yes.
I've not dealt with all the details that I'm dealing with now at the moment.
Yes, so now that you're working behind the scenes and we're starting to understand what Piotique really means to those who actually work it, what are some of your hopes and wishes for this year's Piotique? Like, what are you hoping that we can accomplish that will help contribute it to be, you know, like, a great Piotique?
Well, I think like every year, and I think every committee that's ever been on it just hopes that each year is bigger and better than the year before. I mean, we really try to listen to the community and find the things that you know, maybe we had suggestions from last year that people would like to see for vendors or entertainment or just the timing on how things went throughout the day. I think we try and take all of those things into consideration, and those comments are still coming in, even though we are getting into the really fine detail section of things. We're still taking those into consideration as far as what we can do to make this the best year possible. And I just think that working behind the scenes, I just hope that if people want to volunteer and they want to come forward and help, we always have a place for them. In fact, we have orange volunteer shirts.
That's right.
If you would like to step up and be official as far as a volunteer. So you can always come forward and do anything behind the scenes, but there's just all kinds of things that can be done, and I think we just want it to be more each year and bigger and encompass everything that Clay Center is.
Yep. So what's your favorite part about Piotique?
I have to pick one.
I know.
Let's see. I really like the parade, but I love the food. I love the food.
It's
you
good.
could just go, you know, start at one side and keep going around, but I don't know, the car show's pretty good too.
Yeah. I know the car show has been a huge success for the BPW, and they have done that so exceptionally well, and the turnout continues to be better every year, and I know that has pretty much become a massive part of Piotique. So I'm so glad that the BPW continues to want to do that.
Well, and it's the only car show run exclusively by women.
Yes.
And so I think that's a really cool thing all by itself. So
yes,
everything's done in pink down there. I think that's awesome because when you pull in, you know immediately that it's run by women.
Yep.
And so you just don't see a lot of those as far as car shows go.
Exactly. So this year, because you are on the board, you're going to be out on the front line, so to speak. So what's one of the things where can we see you or hear you rather?
Well, yeah, you'll hear me. I am going to announce throughout the day, so you'll hear me probably more than see me, but I'll be keeping you up to date on the things that are going on throughout the day, where you can head to the next location to get the best benefits out of what's going on throughout the day. I'm sure that I will be filling other shoes throughout the day. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm open for any of it. It's okay.
I feel your pain. I feel like I've never participated in Piotique like I am now.
Right.
Because I've always been stuck at my store, so to speak. And so I'm pretty much digging my heels and embracing myself for whatever comes our way. So, and I'm just praying for great weather.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So because you are becoming more and more heavily involved with the Clay Center community, what are your hopes? Not just for Piotique, but like what are some of the things that you really hope that your influence on the chamber board can kind of produce as you serve on the chamber board and as you're a active Clay Center community member?
Right. I hope that the chamber is seen as a very important part of Clay Center. I hope that more people come out to the activities that we have, such as the Art in the Park or the 4th of July activity that we had. You know, we had some really great musicians at the Art in the Park, and it's so important that when we put these things together that we actually have the people there to support them. Because not only, I mean, we put quite a bit of effort into those things, but then the people that come that are performing or putting their talents out there on display, they need to see that Clay Center supports them also.
You are exactly right.
So, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that I want to see more people out in front of those bands, or I want to see more people on the courthouse square, or you know, down at Piotique. Friday night is crazy, and Saturday during the day, but stay longer. Come to the dance that night.
Yes.
Be an active part. And us as board members, we want to hear from you. We want to know what your thoughts are, and we want to try and make Clay Center the best it can possibly be.
You're so right. I think it's also important to note too that almost all, and I say all because I don't want to catch myself in a box, but we will always strive to make the events that the Clay Center Area Chamber of Commerce produces or puts on to be free to the public.
Right.
You know, there might be times where you could donate, but that money, I can assure you, goes back into the events. It goes to help sponsoring. And so that's why it's so important that people understand that we have chamber businesses that sponsor those events for the community, because they want the community to thrive as well. And we have Piotique sponsors. We had a massive list of sponsors for the music and arts in the park. And these are business owners and business executives and people that don't mind giving money for these types of events because they know it's for the good of the community. So I can't thank you enough for being a part of this today, and I really appreciated talking to you. And this year, I should note, the theme for Piotique is Building Memories, and we really hope that it is the best Piotique yet. So thank you very much, and see you there.